in, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. And of course, hope everybody had a great Christmas. How you doing, Pegs?
I'm doing well. Obviously, you may wonder, why am I painted up? There ain't no Eagles game going on right now. We were doing some filming today, some Christmas filming for this upcoming tailgate. So you get to see me like this in all my splendor.
Right on. Do you have more filming later, or you just get to wash it all off after the show today?
Going to wash it all off after
Nice.
the show. It's time for it to come off.
Right on. So, I mean, how was your Christmas? What
Christmas was good. Obviously, you get to spend some time with the family and the kids and stuff like that, and you get to watch them open up all their presents and get all excited for them. You get to get your pair of socks and your knit hats, and that was awesome. To receive that type of stuff. They're actually starting to do things now like that make a little sense. Like, hey, we're gonna get one little small thing from each team. So I got like a tumbler, I got like a knit hat, I got a pair of socks, and I got this other hat that if I squeeze it, Gritty's arms go like this with.
That's awesome.
So I mean, that is kind of awesome stuff. Like, because that's stuff that I would never buy, and and I'll never forget that they gave it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you watch any of the games yesterday?
So I missed the Kansas City game, and I was a little bummed about that because, damn it, I did not use friggin' Patrick Mahomes in my fantasy team because it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I got beat up because of it, because he scored like 38 points in fantasy.
I didn't expect them to beat him down yesterday. Like, I was expecting the standard KC, they're going to win, but barely, right? But they came out and they did some work.
Yeah, and I thought, to be honest, I'm glad that they kind of did beat him like that, because I was beginning to think that I knew the script.
Yeah.
And like, oh, this is the script. Now you're going to watch the Steelers win this game, and the Ravens are going to win their game, and it's going to go down to the last couple of weeks of the season, blah, blah, blah. Not that it's not going to still, but now the Ravens really have the upper advantage of that.
Yep.
And then, that they were going to still give the opportunity for Buffalo to possibly win the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff, I have it all in my head.
Yep.
And I still kind of have it in my head for the NFC side. Like,
the NFC is still kind of open. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're going to. The Eagles, I think, have the number 2 seed no matter what. I mean, they are not going to lose against the Giants and the Cowboys. However, I would be remiss if I didn't think that the script says that the Cowboys win this week.
Yeah, who do they have?
The Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
So the Cowboys win. The Eagles don't clinch the number 1 seed. You have Washington win, and then you have the Eagles go up against the Giants. They make it a 4:00 game next Sunday, and ultimately, because they got to have Washington play at the same time, just in case the Eagles lose and Washington wins, and Washington can get the number 1 seed, or the number 2 seed, actually. They would get the number 2 seed, or we would get the number 2 seed, because we're both higher than either Atlanta or
the Rams.
The Rams. So, I mean, ultimately, it's and of course, then the Giants would also be going for the number 1 draft pick.
Yes. Well, and that's why I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to lose at this point. I mean, some of the things that we watched them do over this last week or so, I mean, it indicates that it looks like the players have bought in on we're trying to lose.
Well,
no cowboy talk. How's it going, Wen?
Merry Christmas, guys. And it's the hardest part about it is, like, obviously, the Cowboys they're saying they're playing better, but they ain't playing for nothing. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. They're playing for Now they're playing to get the worst draft pick.
Yeah, I mean it's easier to play when there's no pressure anymore, right?
Right.
Now you're just going out there and you're playing. Doesn't matter if you win or not. Like, you want to win as a player, right? Like, you want to put good tape out, but as an organization,
But the fight's out. The fight's done. Like,
exactly.
that's the problem. It's like I just oh yeah. It's like, ooh, I really don't like this team, but I also really don't care either.
Yeah, well, that's why I say, like, you're not necessarily trying to get out there and win. You're just trying to have your own good tape, right? You don't want to be the reason you're losing, because a lot of these players may not be there next year. So you're like, look, my team may be cheeks, but I had good tape.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. And that's kind of the other reason why, like, if you feel like the script is going to write itself a little bit, it's like, okay, then you don't have Jalen Hurts play.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit more of an excuse. I think that also in the process of this script, I mean, I've got this script all the way going to the end, all the way to the Chiefs going up against the Eagles in the Super Bowl and the Chiefs losing because of the script.
I mean, I hope that part of the script is true.
Well, the reason being for that is that no team, no one team, no one person could get above the NFL.
Yep.
Even though Tom Brady was as great as he wasn't bigger than the NFL.
Yep.
And nobody is going to be bigger than the NFL.
Joe, you're coming for the 5th overall pick is what you're coming for.
Yes, exactly. 100%. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they are very appreciative that Taylor Swift is dating a football player. 100%.
No question. No question.
But she's not bigger. She can't be the reason why any team three-peats.
No, and I don't know that. I mean, outside of Casey,
they don't want a team to three-peat.
Exactly.
They do not want it. It does them no good. Hey, win 3 out of 4, win 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yep.
But not win 3 in a row. You're not going to win 3 in a row.
No, and I mean, and I don't want to see him do it. I mean, I can admit that I've slid into a little bit of that dynasty fatigue. Like, I want to see different people in this game.
I agree. So I don't know that Detroit's going to be able to do it. I really believe now we're going to wind up going to Minnesota for the NFC Championship game. I just feel, for something tells me that Minnesota is going to be the team that will beat Detroit
in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, that they're going to beat out the last week of the season.
Oh, on the last week of the season. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just think Minnesota wins that, and Detroit is going to be the 5 seed.
That would be interesting. I mean, it's definitely possible, because that defense for Detroit is hammered.
Right, but they're still playing pretty good. I mean, I guess we'll find out this week. I mean, every time I keep thinking Detroit's going to lose, they don't lose.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they were playing the Bears, but it was supposed to be really cold that day.
Well, and the Bears have tripped people up. I mean, they're not a good team. They have good play, they have good elements, but they've tripped some guys up. So, I mean, plus it's a divisional game, so you can never count them out. How's it going, Chris?
I will say this. I am happy that the Ravens won by so much yesterday, because Lamar did not play in the fourth quarter, and damn it, thank God, because I was playing. He was on the fantasy team I was going up against. And since I already screwed the pooch with not being able to put Mahomes in time because it was a 1:00 game, I thought it was a 3:30 game.
Oh, so it
I
already
was
kicked
put
off.
him in that it would be 3:30, 6:30, because
Gotcha.
that would have been a smarter thing to do. But I don't think Netflix wanted to compete against basketball.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess there's a couple ways to look at that, because it became much harder to flip between the two, right? So it's not like you were just hitting the last channel button on your remote. now you had to actually like jump out of Netflix over to network TV and back. So, I mean, I think there was probably less switching back and forth. I think it was probably more of, hey, let's grab that old TV out of the garage, throw it upstairs real quick.
Right.
Mike, what were you doing in Seattle, man? All right, here you go. You think Hurts will be ready for the Cowboys?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I'd love for him to be ready, but he won't be. And I think that's part of the script, unfortunately. So.
Oh, you live here in Seattle. Nice. Right on.
Yeah, I saw the two run home run. That was one of the plays I did see. And then it was like, then it became the Lamar show.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I was hoping that they were going to feed Henry more, but Henry wasn't doing much. Lamar was the one running all over the place.
Henry had a couple of like good runs, but then, it wasn't anything groundbreaking. But I mean, Lamar was out there just balling out. It makes you think that he tightened that gap back up for Josh Allen on the MVP.
Well, that's the other thing that I keep thinking about with this script that I keep talking about. That by actually the Eagles losing this game and giving Saquon Barkley like 150, 160 yards rushing, that forces them to have to play that 18th week, and he breaks the record. And by breaking the record, and I feel like it's record MVP, no record, no MVP.
Oh, no, he has to break the record to win the MVP. There's no question about that. Yeah.
I also believe that they're going to feed him touchdowns a little bit more. So you may see him score like 5 touchdowns in these last 2 weeks.
I mean, that would help his case.
Yeah, and it's just and they're not going to be crazy touchdowns. It's going to be like 2-3 yarders. Those tush pushes, not going to be tush pushes. They're going to be him running it in. And I feel like because they're going to feed that a little bit.
Well, I mean, and it would be smart too anyway, because you want to make sure that you don't get hurt just before the playoffs, right? So you want to take the ball out of his hand a little bit on those tush pushes, just because, you don't want to be on the bottom of the pile last couple weeks of the season heading into the playoffs.
Right. So I kind of feel that that's part of this script, that they may wind up getting that because they're going to get forced to have to play week 18 against the Giants. And it also forces the Giants to wind up with the number 1 pick in the draft. So,
Mac, they are not going to win 3 in a row. They don't have the team. Like, someone's going to catch them in the playoffs.
So, yeah, and I tell you, this is why it's my opinion in my show. You can have your opinion on your show there, Mac.
Right.
Just because you know that your Giants stink, and it would be listen, I would love. Here's a script that I would write there, Mac. All right, just if you want to know my script, that the Eagles demolish the Cowboys this week, and then they play all their 5th and 6th string guys, and actually you guys win that game and wind up with the 7th pick in the draft rather than your 1st pick in the draft. You don't get Shador. You don't get any quarterback. It's like it just becomes a worse mess for you guys. That would be beautiful. That's a beautiful script as far as I'm concerned.
No, they looked like a team that could win 2 in a row last year.
Who could?
Casey.
Yeah, this year, like I said, I'm telling you, the NFL does not want them to win 3 in a row. No one person can be higher than the NFL, and that's what would happen. Patrick Mahomes would elevate higher than the NFL. Even Brady, as good as he was, they never gave him the opportunity to win 3 in a row, and they don't want it. They do not want it. All they do is lose one. Hey, try to win 3 in a row again. Try to do it again.
Mac's just on one this morning. That's really what's going on here.
It's all right. It's all right. You can think whatever you want, Mac. You tell me. You tell me who your thoughts are on who you guys are going to take in the draft. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're on the clock.
They're definitely on the clock. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what they do from here. They're, a top 10 pick. Like they could win both their next games and be a top 10 pick.
No, I don't think so anymore. Then.
Yeah, because there was only 7 3-win teams going into the weekend, right?
Right, but they would win 4 games, and that
would still make them inside the top 10 as far as picks. Because they, let's see, we got 2, 3, 4, 5.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, okay. There's only 5 3-win teams now, so they'd be inside the top 10.
Well, how many 2-win teams? 3?
Just them.
Oh, Patriots won. Carolina won. Carolina's got 4.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few 4-win teams now. So
if they win both games, so that's what I'm saying. How many people are going to stay at 4 wins? How many are going to go to 5?
Exactly.
I guess it doesn't really matter. Like I said, they are on the clock and they're going for number 1.
Yeah.
And so is the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders have 3 now. So
if the Giants are the only one with 2 wins, they're the best at losing. So
yes, they are. So so of our 3-win teams, we have the Patriots, the Raiders, the Browns, Jaguars, Titans, and then we have that's it. And then of course they're the only 2-win team. 4-win teams, we have the Panthers, the Bears, the Jets. That's it. So, so even if they win 4, they're still a top 10 terrible team.
Right. And to be honest, Brad, I don't know if it's going to be Tanner or not. I mean, I heard that Pickens was a little bit beat up. So it's possible it could be Tanner. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I mean, I think that if the Eagles want to win this game, they'll win this game. If the NFL doesn't want them to win this game, they're not going to win this game, and they'll have to beat the Giants. You know what I mean? Either way.
So do you actually want Hunter, or would you like to actually address some of that offensive line problem?
But you know what, though? But they did try to address it a couple of times, and everybody they draft just seems to not be doing really well. What's that guy's name? Neal? He was like a 1st-round pick. He was like the number 2 pick, I think. In that one draft, you drafted number 2 and number 6 in that draft. And took one defensive line. No, it wasn't defensive line. That was Thibodeau, right? Thibodeau was the number 6 pick. And then
something like that.
Neal was the number 2 pick. I'm beginning to think, not for nothing, listen, big guys that play offensive line, once you start to get that, I mean, I got to imagine, yes, there is some difference between athletic ability, but I got to imagine it's time for some coaching, maybe a better coach. I feel like that the reason why the Eagles offensive line is so amazing is because they've got the best coach in the NFL to coaching the offensive line.
Yeah.
Trying to find somebody to do that for the job.
Yeah, of course, that's the thing. I mean, these guys are all big, strong, and fast, right? Like, there's no reason they can't be good. So, I mean, of course, it comes down to coaching. Like, you can't teach speed. You can elevate speed, though, right? Like, because technique, it's one of those, like, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. Giants, Giants fan. That's why there's so much anger coming from that post. Besides, here on Coast to Coast, we have to give Mac a hard time. It's a requirement. It's part of our contract.
100%. But
Man.
I tell you, I don't know. I think, like I said, I was surprised when Kansas City spanked them, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I was not as surprised about Baltimore spanking Houston.
Yeah.
Houston couldn't do anything at all.
No, I mean, they were gifted that safety, right? Like, how often do you kick a perfect kick? They get it at the 5. You have a procedural problem. You have to re-kick it, and then you get them down at the 3. Like that. I mean, kudos to their special teams. I mean, because the kicks were amazing, but outside of that, like that's the only thing that happened. They had 2 good special teams plays.
Well, they had the 2 good special teams plays, but even when they didn't score on the 1, like they were it was 4th and 4, and they made it to the 1, and they didn't get in.
Yep.
So okay, maybe we're going to see a second safety, because the score was 17-2 at halftime, and that was a scoregami.
Oh, a 17-2? Yeah.
It was a scoregami at halftime. It never ended at the half 17-2.
Yep.
What they never told you is that it also never ended in the half 17-5. So had they kicked a field goal, it still would have been a scoregami.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Somehow the game didn't end in 1 though. That score had been done 2 other times. Because it was 31-2. So it happened in like 65 and I don't know, a decade before that. So it's been a while.
Yeah. So I mean, it's rare that anybody just scores 2 points. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So most of the time, like you think about it, like how did they score that 2 points? Did they block a kick and they run it all the way back? Like that's, not that happens very often, but. And I keep wondering, you keep trying to get that elusive 1 point, but the only 1 point that you could give is it would also be for the offense. So it's like you either get that extra point, or if you get the 1 point safety, if you get the turnover, you block a kick and you try to run it back, and in the process of running it back, you run into the end zone and get get tackled. It's 1 point for the kicking team.
Yeah.
And it's still like an extra point, although it's a 1 point safety.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Because the lowest score you can get is a 6-1, I think.
No, can't get a 6-1. It's 6-2.
Yeah, because it'd be a blocked extra point returned for a touchdown.
That's 2 points.
It'd just be 1.
No, it's 2.
So it used to be, but now you have to declare.
No. So when the Eagles were playing Tampa, one of the better plays of that game, because that whole game sucked for the Eagles, was they blocked the kick, they picked it up, and they ran it all the way back, and they got 2 points for that.
Yeah, so, I didn't think they did. I thought it mirrored what you were going for. So if you were going for 1, it was a 1 point return. If you were going for 2, then it's 2.
No, it does not. So if you run it back, it's 2 points. However, that's where that 1 point safety comes. Can only happen during an extra point, where you get the ball in play, run it back into the end zone, get tackled in the end zone. Because of that, it becomes a 1 point safety, and it's just like you made the extra point. So
weird enough.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Because also, right after that safety, I don't know if you noticed, they still lined up in the exact same spots they normally do. Even though he kicked it off from the 20, 15 yards away, he still kicked it to just about the end zone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely crushed that ball.
So it's like it didn't matter at all.
Yeah. No, the kicking game has changed so much from, when you first started watching football. 40-yarders were hard for kickers back in the day, right? Now 40-yarders are where they start their warm-up.
Yeah, but I mean, we still have yet to see the 70-yard kick. So it's like, obviously nobody's going to be kicking it from the other side of the 50 that often. You know what I
No,
mean?
no.
You get 65-yard field goal is ridiculous, and there's legs that do it now.
Oh yeah.
But
well, yeah. I mean that free kick. I mean, he could have hit it from 70 without the defense in front of him. Because I mean, he had room off that kick.
You better know how to also kick that, because kickers aren't used to making those types of kicks either.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
they're not even practicing 70-yarders.
They probably kind of do on their own, though. just for like
what's the most I can bench?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yeah. So I bet they get out there and swing at that a few times. But, cause that's like going to the driving range, right? Like you might be aiming for the pins, but there's at least half a dozen balls that you just smash the hell out of. You're like, I wonder how far this can go.
Right. Oh, it bees what it bees. I think that they should go back. Obviously, I think that they may have made adjustments on these balls for these kickers. Why don't they just use all the same football? Like, why is it always, the kicker's got a different ball? It's a completely different ball in general.
Yeah, I mean, they always work the ball differently, right? Like they scuff them differently, and they smash the tips down so it's a rounder, more, So I mean, yeah, but I just want to see him accidentally mess the ball up and throw one of them kicking balls out there for everybody to play with, because you want to see some dropped footballs. That's when it would happen.
Exactly. So, because you can't deflate those balls.
Yeah, I never thought about the inflation rate of the kicking balls, but I bet they're about as high as you legally can, right? Because the top end of the spectrum is what, 13 and a half, I think. So it seems like they'd be like right on that cusp, right? You want it as hard as possible to get that balance.
Let's find out. What's the difference between the kicking balls and the regular playing balls in the NFL? All right, so here are the main differences between kicking balls and regular balls. Kicking balls are known as the K balls. They have a K on them.
Okay.
So they only have a K.
Perfect.
K balls are broken in and less slick than regular playing balls. They are also prepared using a special brush to smooth the sides where the kicker's foot hits.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
K balls are only used for kicking, while regular playing balls are used for the rest of the game. Weight: the kicking balls are supposed to weigh between 12.5 and 13.5 pounds per square inch. So 13.5 is the highest.
Yeah.
So balls they are
those
delivered.
Those numbers are the same for the game, for the normal balls too.
Right. I figure, but so yeah, it doesn't really say it. And that happened in 2000. And the kicking balls are brought to the official's hotel room in factory sealed box, and they're not delivered with the other game balls.
That's weird. Like that's a strange. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. We're gonna bother the referees the night before.
Right. Is that where they get? That's when they get the script that you're talking about. They're like,
oh, it goes with the kicking balls. Yes. Now we know.
It's the delivery system. They're like, oh no, this is totally normal. We bring them these balls. It's fine.
They're in a feel like you were kicked in the balls afterwards.
Man.
Never a dull moment. Things you learn here on this show.
That's right. Man. Yeah.
And if you don't want to be kicked in the balls while you're gambling.
That's right. You can use this QR code on the screen. Bet US, 125% of your first 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee if you bet right alongside us here. And of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you want to defend yourself from somebody kicking you in the balls, you can get some of those skills right here at True Fusion Gym, Bellevue, Ballard, University Village. Use the QR code on the screen. Pilates, boot camp, yoga, bar, and more. Find your edge. True Fusion Gym.
Normally we go off the rails with everybody else, but sometimes it's just the two of us. Right. I guess the eggnog last night was flowing really good.
That's right. Let's go.
Did you get anything worthwhile for Christmas?
Yeah. So, my wife and I, we like to eat right? So I
That's a
got
people
her
thing.
a what's that?
That's a people thing.
It is. So I got her. She likes to bake, so I got her a KitchenAid mixer, right, which she was excited about. And then she got me a Blackstone attachment to my flat top for a pizza oven. So, because well, we like to make pizza, so now we have a pizza oven. So yeah,
All right, nice,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
what did I get? Oh,
I mean, okay.
let's see if there it is.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Hell yeah, that thing's a monster.
That's a big flask.
So that hold a whole bottle.
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it should. That's awesome.
That and I also got this awesome.
Oh, that's rad. I'm not mad at that at all.
No,
That is awesome.
I have 23 pieces, like die cast. I have a whole bunch of old die cast cars. I actually like where I sell them on occasion. Like I'm just like, all right, we'll get rid of this one. We'll get rid of this one. You sell them for like $20, but somebody out there is going to collect it and do those die casts. It's like 1 in 32. So that's kind of funny to me to see that for a Zamboni.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, so like I might actually have to put that together and set it up for the flyers.
Yeah, I mean, I still have Legos floating around. Like it's sometimes you need that mental break. You're just like, all right, let me nerd out on something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can't do the Legos. I'm not a Legos guy.
Yeah.
Mostly because I actually do it with bricks, and stone.
Yeah.
And I just think I'm like, me building with these little itty bitty blocks are not what I'm interested in doing. Interestingly enough, though, they do have monster Legos now that you could build houses with.
Oh yeah. It's funny. They actually have these foam forms. So instead of making concrete forms, right, you build them like Legos, right? Like they snap together, and then you run some rebar and tie it through the middle of it, and you pour directly into these blocks, and it adds R value, right? And for people watching, that's insulation. But so yeah, kind of funny that you can start building some of these foundations with essentially foam Legos.
Yeah, I've seen the 3D concrete printers.
Yeah, that's kind of wild too.
We'll actually do the entire house, at least the outlay of the house, which sounds like a really good idea. It
looks weird.
It looks weird, and then because ultimately now you've got this concrete slab, that's thick and stuff like that, but you still got a pargent on either side. You still got to set up framing on the inside if you want to have drywall. You're not going to have like a concrete wall because you need some insulation. You know what I mean? So I guess you're only doing that in warmer climates because there's no need to do that. You can't do that here.
Yeah, I mean, the layout is strange when you see the printer.
Yes.
I mean, and then you still have to work it, right? Because it prints, so it's got like the ripples for each pass.
Right.
Like it's kind of a bizarre setup. I mean, I like the idea behind it, but I feel like it has some reform that has to happen to.
Well, yeah, because you have to stucco it at the end. You're going to have to fill in all those gaps, and then you're going to have to put a final finish over the top of it all. Yeah. You don't have to use wire with all that because it's all making a masonry bond to each other, as long as you would have the additives to get in there to make sure that it, almost like a horsehair stucco, that you want to add some of the things in there to tie in and stuff like that. And then you put your final coat over the top of it all. But I mean, that's how I would do it, being a mason and knowing how to do that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm not that guy yet. I'm just not the guy who's going to 3D print a house.
Yeah, certainly not somewhere colder.
No, no, yeah, maybe if I was in Texas and I had all this concrete and a machine that would print it out like that, then I would go definitely do that.
Mhm.
Um, the Lego thing is probably a little bit better, you know, because you
Yes.
once you lock it in the Lego, you know what I mean? It's literally you could now it's locked in there and it's gonna have it's you have the insulation on both sides because you have the you know
Exactly.
interior, exterior. You put something, just screw something into the rest of that Lego, and now you've got an exterior finish and never gonna leak, never gonna have a problem.
Yep. No, that's why I liked that was, you know, because it adds that R value and you're still pouring an actual wall in the middle of it, right? Like
Right.
you aren't getting around the pour and you still have all the tie off of a structural wall. So yeah, the printing you're watching and you're just like, man, I don't know if I like that. Plus, because of the way it's poured, imagine that in a like earthquake area. Like that could be interesting potential breakpoints.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I yes, anytime somebody's going to start shaking a house, all of a sudden there's going to be cracks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Settlement cracks and stuff like that. I mean, you better have a pretty good foundation in the underneath this in the first place. You better not just have it on ground because it's going to break.
Oh
But
yeah, no, your groundwork would have to be on point.
yeah,
Yeah.
so um,
And
but
if
I
you
ain't
ever
ready to
cared
buy.
about
I ain't buying that house. I'll buy like 3 or 4 of those containers, 40-foot containers.
yes, yeah,
I'd put that and do that type of stuff.
absolutely. And for everybody watching, you learned way more about foundations than you ever cared to know about.
Exactly. Sometimes you go off the sports rails. We're going back to talking about real life in general. Like before this, I was a chimney sweep. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Tomorrow, I'm not even going to be able to be on the show because I'm actually installing a fireplace.
Oh, funny. You installing like an actual fireplace? You'd put like
Gas
a
log
gas.
set.
Oh, okay.
It's a gas log set. So,
Right on.
um,
Those are easy.
yeah, just going in there like, okay, bang, done. You turn it on, turn it off. Ooh, working perfect.
So is that going to be an insert in an existing chimney, or are you just doing a freestanding?
It's just that it's actually a vent free. We closed off the chimney.
Oh,
So
okay.
we made it a vent free gas log set. So,
Nice.
um, yeah, just to be able to give it operational value.
Right on. See, and that's why Pags and I work well together because we've installed a lot of the same crap.
Exactly. Exactly correct. And it's funny though because I own a system to reline chimneys that uses ceramic
Oh,
to
sure.
it sprays the inner lining of the chimney, and not many people have it. So I've done like high end stuff, but the machine that it uses is like a pump machine, a very small pump machine that pumps through ceramic concrete through it, uh,
Okay.
which is all. It sounds, you know, kind of cool to be able to do that and stuff like that. But ultimately, if it was stronger, I would be able to pump in concrete to be able to lift up foundations and things like that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, technology sounds right. It's the masonry part of that. Like it's just not working the way you would expect it to yet. Like you'd have to push, very, very loose concrete, and very, very loose concrete makes just a mess.
Yeah, it squishes rather than lifts.
Yeah, it doesn't lift. It starts squirting out wherever it can.
Yep.
So
Yeah. No, that would be kind of cool to be able to go in and redo the inside of the chimney. Like that'd be cool.
dirty work, very dirty work.
No question. Yeah, no
Yeah.
question there.
And
I
I
mean,
tell people,
anytime you're cleaning a chimney is dirty work.
yes,
So to
yes.
get that to stick, I imagine you have something that goes in and etches the inside so it has something to stick to.
No, it's actually your first coat is a very, very quick spray coat, like a splatter coat.
Oh,
You got
okay.
to make sure that dries really well. Because if the first coat don't stick, the rest of the coats ain't going to stick.
Well, that's why I was curious if you had something that like etched the sides, before.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is that it's terracotta, so it is a little porous in general.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I imagine obviously you go through and you clean everything first. So I mean, it's as clean as you can get it anyway.
yeah, and if you have like creosote in there, you got to like scrape it off and stuff like that, and that will sometimes score the terracottas on the inside and such. Most of the time, you're dealing with the problems when the terracotta is broken.
Yeah.
So that's where the big deal is. This will fill in all of those cracks as you go up.
I mean, that's cool.
But you
Rather
have to
than
do it
like tear it apart.
Well, it's definitely easier. It's more time consuming because it's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Oh, sure.
You're doing a spray, and then you got to let that cure properly.
Yeah.
Then you're doing a spray, and you got to let that cure properly. Because if you go a little early, now all of a sudden you have big slides, and when that stuff slides down, it's now you got to redo that whole spot.
Signed Bridgewater. Okay. I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Yeah, it's good for them. The Red Wings have fired their coach.
All right.
Okay. Red Wings stink. That's why they're firing their coach.
Yeah.
So there was some basketball being played yesterday too.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it.
Well, I was working, so I wasn't necessarily watching, but it was on.
Sure.
So I would turn around. I'm like, wow, the Sixers are up. I knew when the Sixers were getting 9.5 points. I'm like, that's too small of a line. No reason that the Sixers should be like, it should have been 12, 13 points, I thought. Like, that's what the line would have been. And at the fact that it was 9.5, I'm like, Sixers are going to win this game. That's a Sixers line. It might be worth it to go money line on that. Yeah. And they won. They were up by 15. It's amazing. They're up by 15 with 5 minutes left. And 2 minutes later, they're
down.
They weren't down, but they were it was like 3-point game. I'm like, it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes left in the game. You're up by 15. And all of a sudden now you're up by 2. Like, how is that possible in 2 minutes time? Yeah, you don't miss much,
Oh yeah, they had a rough third. Yeah, looks like they didn't hit anything in the third.
Right. Pete Carroll's thinking about the Bears job.
Yeah, I heard that. We'll see. He was also being talked about for one of the New York for possibly a Jets job, is what I was hearing. So I wouldn't love that for him. The Bears would be interesting though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because of the young quarterback situation, very similar to the way that he would play, like Russell Wilson would have played.
Yep.
You need to be able to get, they are not very, what would be the word I'd use there? Enthusiastic to play in Chicago. I feel like they need to change the culture completely.
He definitely, they need that energy for sure. And I mean, that's something you can always say about Carroll. He will bring the energy. There is no doubt.
So how's my fantasy team? So since we're going to talk fantasy for a half a second, and I'll tell you exactly how I'm doing right now. I am in the finals. I am going up against the guy who was number one. I had Mixon go last night, who did not get 5 points. He got 4.9.
Okay.
I wound up being stuck because I didn't realize it was a 1:00 game. Mahomes is on my bench and scored 38.2 points, which would have outscored Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson had 35.1. However, excuse me, I do have Richardson going up against the Giants.
Okay.
So I'm not really concerned there. He had Nico Collins going, and he only got 7.4 points. So I feel like my 4.9 and 7.4 is really where that's at. Like Nico was way under. Mixon was way under.
Yeah.
I need everybody else to start kicking some ass.
Yep. Well, yeah, because it's championship week, right?
Yes. So he's got Gibbs as the running back and Jacobs. Gibbs and Jacobs. A.J. Brown. His tight end is who is that? Jonnu Smith from Miami. And then Hubbard is a running back. Shakir is a wide receiver. His kicker's from Minnesota, and he's got the Dolphins defense. Going up against now Richardson, going up against the Giants, still in a playoff hunt. So I need big things out of you, Richardson. Don't get hurt in the third play of the game.
Yeah.
Asshole. Excuse me. Williams is my other running back, along with Ford from Cleveland.
Mhm.
Then I got McLaurin, Williams, and Devonta Smith
Okay.
as my receivers. And going up against McLaughlin is my kicker from Tampa Bay with an Eagles defense.
So who do they have? Who are you going up against here?
Oh, those were the guys I gave you first.
Oh, okay.
Gibbs, Jacobs, Brown, Smith, Hubbard, Shakir.
Gotcha.
This team is 13-2. 13-2. One of those losses was from me.
Okay. All right. So you got him once before.
They've gotten him once before, and it's going to be because we have a game about to start here shortly, don't we?
Yeah. I mean Thursday night football, right?
Oh, is it Thursday night? It's like I wasn't sure if it was earlier than not. Like, hey, it's going to be 5 o'clock now because we have weirdo time.
No. Just the normal Thursday night game this week. This is the final Thursday night game of the year, though. So.
Right, because the next Thursday night games are Saturdays.
Yep, exactly.
Because they also don't do Monday night.
Yeah. What, next Monday is the last Monday?
No,
we already had it.
The last Monday.
Okay, or that's what I mean. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because after that, there's no play. Everything ends on Sunday.
Yes.
After that Sunday night football, we are in playoff football.
Exactly, and then it's Saturdays and Sundays.
Correct.
Yep.
And Mondays for the first one.
Oh, there is a Monday. That's
Monday's
right.
wild card Monday.
That's right. I forgot there was a Monday game. That is odd.
I hated it this year. I mean, obviously everybody was watching on Monday Night Football as Tampa Bay beat us, and everybody remembers, my face from that game.
Yep.
You got the Giants winning against the Colts. There ain't no chance. Ain't no chance. You have a better chance of becoming the next Pope, Joe.
Yeah. No, I do not have the Giants beating the Colts.
Me neither. So,
in fact, I will show you why. Let me download this real quick because this is let's see, where is it? I made a short of it because it is hilarious. This is why I opened the show thinking that even the players are bought in. So here we go.
Don't know what we have going on here on the right side for the Giants. This is just a complete mess.
And
I really don't know what we have going on here on the right side for the Giants. This is just a complete mess.
Was that supposed to be a block?
It sure was. Both of their tackle and their guard just got out of the way.
Yeah, like
you're feeling bad.
Pardon me.
Right, like Drew Lock's gonna die back there if that's the kind of blocking he's getting.
Yeah, it's like, oh, was that a sandwich over there? Oh no, it's just my grass.
Right? Man, just a straight. I mean, it wasn't even a good effort of a chop block if that was what he was trying to do. Right? Like, I mean, he just straight stuck his face in the grass.
Yeah, exactly. Sniper did get him good. That's one of those ones that's like you definitely use where it's like,
oh yeah. Well, and it's funny here. I'll bring it back up.
Don't know what we have going on here on the right side for the Giants. This is just a complete mess.
Those guys get blocked.
Even the guy looked at him. He's like, "What the hell was that?"
I mean, like he didn't even get his hand on him. He like
yeah, he's just like this. And he, like, watch, go like another frame. Like he turns his head to look at him. He's like, "What just happened there?"
Oh yeah. Oh, going past it. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was hilarious, and of course the guard doesn't do anything either, right? Like he barely gets a touch on the shoulder.
Well, that's Neil, right? In the 74, or is it the guy who goes to the ground? I don't even know.
Yeah, I can't. I don't remember their numbers offhand.
I think 74 is Neil.
You should be able to tell us. This is your team, buddy.
Don't know what we're doing, but that's okay. You know, that's what makes them the New York Giants.
That's right. That's right.
The New York, we don't play football anymore, Giants.
And that's why I'm not worried about the Colts beating them, because, man.
P.U.
Yep.
But what I do care about is Richardson getting a lot of points. So I need a lot of points from Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, Richardson could have a day, right? Like if that's the way that their offensive line is going to play, he's going to get a lot of opportunity.
Well, yes, they're going to have the ball for like 38 minutes.
Exactly.
Because that's a lot of threes and outs.
Yep.
So, listen, I don't care. This game, I don't care how it happens. Just the Colts score 64 points. I don't care if the Giants score 65. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't even a little bit. I want Richardson to run in like 6 of those touchdowns and throw for the other 4.
Yes. Yeah, you need him to have that like 50-point day just to try and get that.
He wins my fantasy championship by himself.
Exactly. Now, for me, mine is over, right? I mean, not really, but mostly. For our Pick'em championship, I'm sitting in 4th. I'm 4 games back. That is probably not a realistic obstacle to overcome with the rest of this week and next week. There's three people all with the same record tied for first place right now. Sadly, I'm 4 games back, which means I am probably going to finish 4th.
That's what that sounds like to me.
Yep.
I mean, you might leapfrog one. You know, somebody has just like really, like I said, thinks the script's a certain way, and then actually the script's not that way.
Yeah, no, like there's a chance that I could get into like maybe 3rd, like somebody just has the worst picks ever, or I could drop to 5th because there's somebody that's 3 games behind me. That like if I just come out with the worst picks ever, maybe I fall to that. But at least that means I get to stay in the money, right? I don't see myself falling out of the top 5. So,
yeah, well, I hear that. So I actually think right now I'm in the broke even phase because it was like $100 to join the league, and I won my division, which was my conference, which has only got 5 people in it. So, but I won with a 500 record. But like I said, I was the hard luck loser for 5 of those games. So I really should have been much better. I should have 3 losses right now, maybe 4 at most. But it don't matter what your record is. At the end, if you have the champion, if you win the championship, It's all beautiful as far as
Yeah,
that.
I mean, since we've been talking about the Giants so much, like that was the Giants, right? The wild card entry, very average year, but go through and win. The ring fits the same either way.
100%. And on that note, I think we should ring it up.
Yeah, no, that brings us to the end of the show. Look at us talking about sports most of the time. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. If you're watching on Roku, be sure to stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we're going to get up out of here. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Take it easy, everyone.
Later, guys.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports,